many levels of
There's
fighters.
like 16 fighters up there.
Yeah, it's impossible.
Exactly.
I like both. I like when fighters are respectful, and I like when fighters talk shit.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I did enjoy. It was nice to see Brian Ortega and Max Holloway. They had that nice back and forth where Brian was, he's like, listen, I hope you're well and I hope you're over the injuries and all that type of thing. That was nice to see. It was great. But they both were exuding confidence at the same time. They were both adamant they were going to win the fight. So they weren't being too overly cordial.
Yes.
I don't want to see that.
Right.
I don't want to see two fights pretending like they're in church or meeting the fucking president. Okay?
Yeah.
I want to see two guys that want to rip each other's head off.
Yeah.
Call me an animal, call me a barbarian, call me whatever you want. But that's what gets my, engine ticking.
Well, even when they were at the final weigh-in and they're staring each other down, like, even though it was respectful, there was a lot of tension. There's a lot of tension. You knew what was going down.
Max at the weigh-in?
Brian,
Yeah. I never saw that one.
When they were at the weigh-in and Max and Brian, they just stood, a couple feet away from each other, staring at each other. And it was intense. It was real. That was a fucking hell of a fight, too.
Yeah, Max
Holy
was incredible.
Shit. He's incredible.
He really is. I mean, I was kind of not concerned, and of course...
you were the one who initially threw up the red flag. When you saw him, you just felt like he looked too tired, or what?
Well, he was slurring his words. He looked half asleep.
Right.
He looked like he just got out of bed. That's how he looked, and then he was slurring his words. And then, so I just said, you okay, Max? Everything good? And he's just like, he was slurring. Simple as that. And I'm like, and of course, UFC tonight, you have a production meeting. We go over the questions we're going to ask. So you've got them questions there in front of you. And I thought, I can't stick to these questions. I've got to ask this guy, are you okay?
Good for you. I'm glad you did that.
Well, I felt bad afterwards because then I heard that the fight was off. And then I thought, shit, if I'd gone on, 2 days, 3 days out from a fight, if I'd gone on fucking UFC tonight or whatever, just doing my obligations as a fighter, and then another fighter on the roster is calling me out for an injury, and now the fight's off, I'd have been pissed off with them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Maybe, that's my choice if I want to highlight it. So I felt a little bad, but I really respected Max. He sent me a message thanking me. He said, thank you. He said, he said, I appreciate that. I needed someone to do that because he knew he wasn't 100%. So anyway, I was saying I wasn't fully convinced that he was okay because it seemed like he was, I don't know, still slurring his words or whatever. But
he's kind of a mumbler.
He's a mumbler, yeah. Am I, Yeah. So he was fine though. He was more than fine, dude. He looked insane. So good.
And Ortega fired back. Ortega hit him with some big shots.
Third round hit him with a couple of big shots.
And at the end of the third round, he's like, this is my round.
Yeah, no, I saw that. I told you, it's crazy. It's crazy.
Fucking cardio, man. His cardio is incredible.
Through the roof, you know. Excellent footwork combinations, cuts angles well, reads the fight. That's the main thing, you know what I mean? He reads the fight, so yeah.
He reads the fight, and he's so good at implementing that strategy of like consistent pressure, constant angles, switching stances, and he switches stances flawlessly. Fights just as good southpaw as he does orthodox, and he'll switch in the middle of a combination and then turn corners on you.
Absolutely. That's right. He's not there to be counted.
Yeah, he's fucking amazing, man.
Really good.
And when you hit him back, he like claps. He's like, good,
good,
for
sure.
Keep
well,
going.
remember against Ricardo Lamas?
Yeah.
And he just pointed at the floor. He's like, come on, let's go right here. Let's stand and bang it out.
Yeah, he's a
that
wild
was
motherfucker.
Awesome.
That was awesome.
Yeah, it really was.
It's great to see that he is okay too. But I'm really happy that you did point that out because there was some issues, and I think a lot of that probably had to do, I'm just speculating, but probably had to do with that massive weight cut. I mean, he was trying to get down really quickly to 155, which is crazy, right? Because he fights at 145. He's the champion. And even struggling to go down from he was in the 180s to get down to 155 quickly to fight
for the Khabib fight, yeah.
Because they offered it to him on the last minute.
Sure.